Americans for Fair Taxation presents the Weekly Chairman's Report, written by Steve Hayes, President of Americans for Fair Taxation, and recorded by Bob Paxton, a volunteer with the Florida FAIRtax Educational Association. And now, this week's Chairman's Report.
Hello, I'm Bob Paxton with the AFFT Chairman's Report for Friday, October 23rd, 2020. The FAIRtax will increase U.S. manufacturing jobs, and why that matters. Logically, most people see an increase in U.S. manufacturing jobs as a very good thing. Now, while there are some very vocal extremists in the environmental movement who believe that manufacturing is harmful to the environment and cheers when it's shut down, there is broad agreement that more American manufacturing jobs would be good for everyone. Now, setting aside the environmental debate for now and simply focusing on the economic factors, increasing the number of U.S. manufacturing jobs would have many positive effects. The Economic Policy Institute, or EPI, published the Updated Employment Multipliers for the U.S. Economy, written by Josh Bivens. Now, Mr. Bivens has a Ph.D. in economics and is the Director of Research at EPI. Now, just what is a multiplier? Investopedia.com defines a multiplier this way, quote, "In economics, a multiplier broadly refers to an economic factor that, when increased or changed, causes increases or changes in many other related economic variables," end of quote. Now, the EPI report states, when it comes to the ripple effects that spread to the rest of the labor market, one lost dollar of economic output or one lost job is not the same as another. Production in one industry depends on suppliers in other industries. That's called a backwards linkage, while wages earned in the production and supplier sectors are spent in other economic sectors. That's a forward linkage. In the case of automobile production, there are backwards linkages to industries that produce tires, glass for windshields, and steel for their automobile frames, among many other things. Forward linkages occur when automobile workers and their suppliers' employees spend their income in restaurants, retail stores, at the doctor's office, to name just a few. Now, therefore, in addition to the jobs directly supported by an industry, a large number of indirect jobs may also be supported by that industry. The subtraction or addition of jobs and output in industries with strong backwards and forward linkages to other economic sectors can cause large ripple effects. For example, take the closing of a factory that manufactures durable goods and employs 1,000 people compared to the closing of a retail shopping mall that also employs 1,000 people. The direct impacts, 1,000 jobs lost, are the same. However, the number of indirect jobs lost for every 100 direct jobs lost are 744.1 for durable manufacturing and just 122.1 for retail trade. Therefore, the estimated total number of indirect jobs lost if the auto factory closed would be 7,441. The estimated indirect job loss if the shopping mall closed would be just 1,221. The direct jobs lost in durable manufacturing stemming from a $1 million reduction in final demand would also be smaller, about 2 jobs in durable goods manufacturing compared with about 10 jobs in retail. The impact on the economy of the loss of manufacturing jobs was a huge factor in why the automakers employing less than 200,000 workers were saved in 2008, while others were allowed to fail. In conclusion, the FAIRtax will save the further loss of all types of jobs. Now, every economic study shows that the FAIRtax will grow the economy significantly faster than the present income payroll tax system. Now, this is particularly important if we want to retain manufacturing jobs that are moving overseas primarily for tax reasons. The FAIRtax will reduce the cost of U.S. exports by between 12 and 20%. That's the increase in cost attributable to the U.S. income payroll tax system. The FAIRtax would impose the same amount of tax, 23%, on both imported and domestic goods, thus taking away the 15 to 20% cost advantage currently enjoyed by the imports. And the FAIRtax would effectively remove the tax incentive for a U.S. company to manufacture overseas and import back to the United States. Now, according to a paper published in the Business Roundtable, International trade, including exports and imports, support 39.8 million U.S. jobs. That's more than 1 in 5. These trade-related jobs grew 3.5 times faster than total employment from 2004 to 2013. And these jobs are distributed throughout the entire economy, at large and small companies, on farms, in factories, at the headquarters of globally engaged U.S. firms. Now, foreign-owned companies invest and build facilities and employ 5.8 million workers in the United States. So there's no question, jobs are important to Americans, not only because they help fuel the economy, but also because they allow us to hold our heads up high and provide for ourselves and our families. We have to remember that a job loss is not some abstract thing. Each lost job impacts all of us. Now, as Harry Truman said, it's a recession when your neighbor loses his job. It's a depression when you lose yours. Now, if you have friends who don't know about the FAIRtax, send them to FAIRtax.org. Have them watch the whiteboards under how it works, and if they agree, ask them to please join us. Then, contact your member of Congress and the President and demand that Congress pass the FAIRtax, the only truly fair tax.
This has been the Weekly Chairman's Report, written by Steve Hayes, President of Americans for Fair Taxation. Check back every week for news and information about the fair tax, and learn why the fair tax should replace our antiquated federal income tax system. If you'd like to receive a copy of the Chairman's Report in your inbox every week, sign up at FAIRtax.org.